So, like we talked about again, lots of things you can do, and you know, I'm in dealerships all the time, so I know every dealership, different sizes, different. I mean, there's some that's, you know, or a Dunkin' Donut place that got turned into a deal. I understand that. And I tell every dealer, I said, we just have to start where you're at. It doesn't make any difference. You know, if you're doing $250,000 a year in sales, then you still got to start where you're at. You know, you can't pretend like you're a $2 million dealer because you don't have the dollars to do it with. That'd be foolish, and I would tell you not to do that. Start where you're at. It's the small things, though. I think that's the biggest mistake a lot of people make, is they get caught up in, well, it's too much, it's too big. I tell people, life is all about the small stuff. You know, it's kind of like water. If I heated water to 211 degrees Fahrenheit, 99 degrees Fahrenheit, or centigrade, what would I have? If I got water that's 211 degrees Fahrenheit, what have I got? I've got hot water. And you can do a lot of stuff with hot water, right? I mean, you can bathe in it, you can make tea with it, you can make coffee with it. There's a lot of things you can do with hot water. But hot water in and of itself is not very exciting. Would you agree? I mean, most of you people in the morning, you don't walk up, turn the faucet on in the bathroom, and just watch hot water go. You know, that is exciting. You don't do that. Okay, but let me ask you a question. And I mean, hot water is useful, and it's nice to have, but it's not very powerful. But if I took water that's hot at 211 degrees, and I moved it up to 212 degrees Fahrenheit, right? Now what have I got? Well, I've still got hot water, and it's just 1 degree more, right? A little bit, not a lot, just a little bit, 1 degree more. It's still hot water, but now it's doing something. It's starting to do what? It's starting to boil, it's starting to churn. Something's starting to happen with it. And all I did was move it up a little bit, 1 degree, one small step, moving it up from 211 to 212, and now I've got hot water that's making movement. Things are starting to happen. Ever wanted to make pasta? You put a pan of water on the stove, you got the furnace, you got the stove on, you kind of keep walking by the pan, ain't nothing happening, and all of a sudden you walk by it one time, you start seeing what on the bottom? The bubbles start, and they go, oh, bubbling, right? Now we're excited because the water's starting to do what? It's starting to move, it's starting to have some action to it. And the cool thing about water boiling is not the boiling process, but boiling water releases a byproduct called what? Steam. Steam got any power to it? I work with a company that sells rock cutting tools that use steam to cut rock with. The Titanic was not a hot water ship, it was a what? Maybe should have been a hot water ship. Talk about a motivational talk to the captain. Don't worry, folks, we're just stopping for a little ice. I was watching a show. I'm a pilot. I love watching things about pilots and watching things about flying. I was watching a show a few years back on the Learning Channel called Mean Machines. And on this show, they were talking about aircraft carriers and how aircraft carriers work and the size of them and the scope of them. And one of the things I was fascinated was we were talking about the way they got airplanes off of the deck of aircraft carriers. If you know anything about flying, there are basically two things you've got to have. You've got to have velocity and you've got to have lift, right? So I've got so much speed that creates the velocity. If I get the velocity right and my wings are right, my lift will happen and I will fly. Problem with an aircraft carrier, you don't have a lot of deck, you don't have a lot of runway. So if you took a big heavy jet and you loaded it down with fuel and bombs and you just let it try to take off on its own, it's just going to roll off into the ocean and crash. And even the government figured after 5 or 6 times, this is not how we should do it. And so the government, in their wisdom, created a system to help planes get off the deck of aircraft carriers called a what? A catapult. And the catapult is operated by what? Steam. The same water they used to make coffee for the captain in the morning, heated up 1 more degree, will throw a plane off the deck of an aircraft carrier. Matter of fact, on this show, they said that catapult is so powerful that if you took a standard-sized American car and you formed it into an aerodynamic shape, it would throw a standard-sized American car out into the ocean over 25,000 feet, almost 5 miles. Buckle up. Now we have a new way to deal with terrorists, don't we? Get in the car. But I tell people again, but it's not the big stuff. And I tell all my dealers, so many of my dealers go like, oh, we got so much wrong. I said, you don't have a lot wrong. It's focusing on the what? You're already hot water. Now we just got to turn you into what? Steam. It's like a horse race. You took a horse race, thoroughbreds, mile and a quarter track. In a mile and a quarter track, there are 79,200 inches in a mile and a quarter racetrack. Anybody ever watched a horse race before? How many times is the race so close that a human eye can't even detect who won? It's like the Olympics. How many times in the Olympics was things so close that the only way they could determine who won was with a photo finish? Everything was that close. Same thing in a horse race. A horse race that is finished and done by a photo finish, the horse is said to have won by a nose, about 1 inch. So if a horse track, a 1.25 mile track is 79,200 inches, and a horse wins by a nose, they win by approximately 1 inch. So a horse that wins a race is 179,200 better than a horse that comes in second, right? Now, how many people in here are technicians? If you get the tolerance down on something to 179,200, Bob, have you got it pretty tight? You got it pretty tight. The difference between winning and losing in the horse race is 1 inch after 79,200 of them. Not a lot, but how much better is it to be the first place horse? How much better are you treated as a first place horse? How much better at the end of the race are you cared for as a first place horse? How much more money do you make as a first place horse? 10 times. And if you're first place horse consistently and they put you out and retire you, what's your life like? Really fine. You have a really fine life. My kids glued paper together with 4th, 5th, and 6th place horses. As I tell people again, the difference is not big, it's all about the what? It's the little things. It's the little things. And that's really what Emily's talking about here. Not a lot of big stuff. You don't have to start. I mean, you could probably spend $100,000 out there if you wanted to, Emily. But that's not where everybody's at right now. You've got to figure out where you're at and say, okay, where I'm at, using 25% of my estimated thing, where could I at least start at? It's the small stuff where you have to start. Everybody do me a favor. Stand up for me real quick. Put your hand up in the air for me. All right? Now go higher. Now go higher. All right, now I want you to look around, see are there any tools at all around you that can make you go even higher than what you ever dreamed you could go before. Go as high as you can. Some of you have stood on tables before, haven't you? Now everybody get down before we have an accident. Now, how many people went higher the 4th time I said it than it was the first time? See, the first time I said, okay, everybody reach up and go as high as you can. And you all went, okay, Bob, I'm with you, buddy. And then I said, no, come on, go higher. And you all did what? And then I said, okay, come on, one more time. And you all went even higher, and you were stretching. But how good did it feel? Right? You were stretching yourselves out. Then I just said, oh, now look around at tools. Are there any tools around you that can help you go even higher than you ever dreamed you could go? And I'll be darned if there wasn't a what? A brand called Cub we could stand on and go higher. That's really what branding's all about. Why would we not take advantage of this chair if our goal was to go as high as we could possibly go? Why would you not stand on Cub to go as high as you could possibly go? That's your challenge. How do we leverage that brand? How do we stand on it to take us to a level that we've never dreamed we could go before? You do it, and success is yours. Thank you guys so much. God bless you all. Thanks. That is a really cheap way to get a standing ovation. Did you notice that? But it worked. Thanks, folks. Make sure you slide around there, and I'll be over there on that side with you. Thanks for coming in, Jordan. I appreciate it.